Simplicity gets their first win of HGC 2018, showing a lot of growth for a team that maybe some people were counting out, right, J-How?
You can't write them off before it starts. Sometimes you look at the names, and much like Gale Force did, they're washed up, they're not good anymore. We've heard that from Equinox even in the pregame. Guess what? They're not. They're not at all. They are looking good, and I think they, despite being 1-1, could potentially move into one of those top 3 spots for the Clash.
Looking good, looking hyped, and now we get to get hyped for a match that a lot of people are pumped for. Tempo Storm and HeroesHearth, we have yet to see them play. Same with Team 12 and Team Freedom. We'll also see them play tomorrow. But Tempo Storm and HeroesHearth, they're 2 fan favorites. Even though HeroesHearth has just now entered the professional scene, there's a lot of old pros here. There's a lot of old-time Open Division players, to BBJ and Ishbu, who have been playing through Open Division all year. A lot of excitement behind them, but Tempo Storm has that too.
Tempo Storm, Gilly, if I were to tell you this team had Caterpillar, Fan, Glaurung, June, and all these names, right? And you're just like, oh, well, that I'm not tell you they're all on the same team, right? It's like, wow, all right, Caterpillar. I'm just going to tell you guys right now, Caterpillar, to me, I've been around enough events. I've heard this guy talk. I think he's one of the smartest people that we have knowing about heroes in North America. You have Fan. Oh, by the way, he's pretty good. One of the best all-around players we've ever had, moving back. And then you have Som and Glaurung, of course, playing that flex, that melee role. Players that played Medivh, things like that. This is an all-star cast almost. It's amazing how this team has come together.
Yeah, add 1 June to that, and it sounds like a pretty powerful recipe for success. Let's see what they think and what HeroesHearth think about this matchup.
So my name is Chris Martin. I've gotten a lot of Coldplay jokes made about that, but my handle is Ishbu, and I am the main tank player for HeroesHearth Esports. After the roster shuffle, since everyone changed, we are currently HGC's longest standing 5-man roster. We have been formed all throughout Open, and we're coming in without a single roster change. So we obviously have some built-in synergies that we're looking forward to using in the HGC League itself.
I think Tempo Storm definitely has very strong mechanical players, but what it comes down to for them is their personalities and how well they mesh together.
I think that there's one of 2 routes that Tempo Storm can go. They could go the route where they actually all find their roles and are comfortable with that and move forward and get results. Or something happens, maybe they have like an early loss in the season and things start to clash, and then I don't think that'll really end up well for them. It's just if they can balance that or not, which, I mean, I can't really say one way or the other, but that's what it will come down to.
As you guys might know, we added Fan and Glaurung, both of whom are very vocal, very opinionated.
For me personally, fitting into Tempo Storm's own dynamic and ecosystem felt pretty natural. I've been roommates with Cattle for a year, been good friends with him for like 2 years, and I've been friends with other people on the roster for a while, so it just kind of felt natural coming into things.
I definitely think this is the most talented roster that NA has seen to date. Everyone's basically like been regarded as like a superstar player in the past.
With the addition of Glaurung and myself being very loud, I could probably safely say that we are going to be the loudest team in NA. Every time we take a win overseas, we're going to be trying to psych the other team out if they can hear us through their headsets. And we're going to bring the energy, and it's going to be real fun.
I think that like as long as we all are able to work together and everyone puts like their egos aside and acts professionally and acts like a mature human being, which I think everyone on this team is and can do, then I think that will become that superstar team that NA is needed.
There are no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Tempo Storm is the next all-star team for North America. And that hasn't always worked in the past for NA, but this team is absolutely on track, maybe to take back the #1 spot from Team 12. They look powerful. Crowan and Caterpillar both alluded to the idea of putting egos aside. So important to do here, as there's so many different personalities on this team.
We heard Calf talk about what comms might have been like that. Can you imagine what it's like during practice every day? You've got Som, you've got Glaurung, both guys get a little bit hype. You know, one thing I took away from that interview, Som's like, hey, we're both pretty vocal. We kind of cut off and then came back to him. He's like, when we're at international events, we're doing this. That's not an if. That is a win. That is proclaiming yourself as one of the best teams, top 3 North America, to make it to the Clash. That is a proclamation right out of the gate before you've ever played a game. I love confidence like that. Can they fulfill it?
Let's see. Let's find out. The series is about to start. We'll start with the Battleground pool. Bans happen to be on Braxis Holdout, banned by HeroesHearth. Tempo Storm bans Towers of Doom and chooses Dragonshire.
Dragonshire, kind of that mix and match of, there's a lot of different play styles, a lot of different priorities in terms of how people play this. But Gilly, I was casting Open Division last year, and I don't know how much Tempo paid attention to any of that, whether they expected HeroesHearth to be here. This was their battleground. This was their battleground in Open Division in the second phase. And the way that the team came together, obviously, with McIntyre and Crowan being let go of their teams going into phase 2, they had a point to prove. Oh, by the way, they got a guy named Arthalon for those old school people that remember some of these old rosters. Yeah,
geez. Arthalon goes way back to the OG Tempo Storm, all the way back when they were at their height. HeroesHearth is a team that has a lot of synergy together. Ishbu talked about it. They did not roster change. You can't coming in from the Open Division. And they've used that synergy to display some fantastic team fights, J-How, and I'm talking about all their wombo combos.
Yeah, they rely a lot on combos, but they never get too out there with things, is that they have the ability and the skill and the coordination. You heard Ishbu talk about the fact that they've been together. They're technically the longest standing roster in North America. They have that synergy. Some of the things that they're able to pull off will look really good. They even, I remember there was one game they just kind of had a little bit of fun to the old Zul Chromie thing, things like that, as we get the draft underway. But Gilly, Crowan on the carry style heroes, they've got a lot of flexibility on that backside. Greymane was one of the big things for him, but they're so flexible, that could be Arthalon. It depends on which way the draft goes. Crowan, to me, is going to be an amazing player to watch. You guys, Crowan was not the problem. I can guarantee you that much. I've been watching this guy for months. I've seen them in scrims. Dude is a legit all-star on ranged heroes with a lot of flexibility on this roster.
Crowan's one to watch. For Tempo Storm, I'd throw it to Psalm. Psalm and his individual improvement prior to BlizzCon. After Tempo Storm lost to Superstars, and that was their low point, they all started working individually very hard, and no one more than Psalm. Psalm worked so hard that at BlizzCon, once he started playing things like Kerrigan, Kael'thas, Kel'Thuzad, he was carrying hard, and I expect that to continue with this roster.
Again, Kael'thas shows up right over your shoulder. She said Kael'thas. I don't know what it is about this, but it keeps happening. Either way, the combo of ETC Lucio, an amazing tank support combo. That gets locked in. But now we've got Greymane, Li-Ming, Murden. I talked about the flexibility between Arthalon, between Crowan on that backside. Either one of them can play this. We'll likely see Crowan on Li-Ming. A hero
I was gonna say.
A hero he made his name known for. If you go back to the beginning of 2016 when Li-Ming came out, I think it was like right around February, he tweeted out, this is like an infamous tweet, he tweets out, hey, I think I'm gonna make my name off this hero. Next thing you know, 5 months later, 4 months later, he's in Sweden at the mid-season brawl. He goes from never being at an event to all of a sudden he's a pro, going to the biggest events in the world. He's still known for playing Li-Ming after all this time.
And how fitting that his first game back in HGC, back in the professional division, would be on none other than Li-Ming. We'll see if that actually happens, but honestly, I just feel like the story is just so good, we could have it no other way. Tempo Storm bans Tyrael from that Li-Ming, but especially that Greymane as an enabler of that. HeroesHearth now has a possibility of denying Tempo Storm some of their damage, maybe the solo lane or two. There's a couple of different options there.
Malthel being banned out, and when you talk about matchups in that top lane, McIntyre has been the melee flex player, mostly melee, that off laner for HeroesHearth, and he would have a favorable matchup against pretty much everybody except for Malthel, who's very strong, has that great sustain, and wins basically against every other melee. Again, the flexibility that they have, though, is very different. That could be maybe a sign of what support that they want to play, things that might not necessarily deal with AoE damage. We could see a potential Ana, which we haven't seen yet. You never know with this team and the flexibility that they have on all roles. And again, that top lane matchup with McIntyre, I can tell you, dude is taking his role. He's taking it seriously. He's been making a point, whether it's in Open Division, scrims. I'm really high on HeroesHearth, and that's why I think this matchup with Tempo and HeroesHearth, this is a statement game, I think, for both teams.
It's also a good jumping off point for us to gauge the strength of Heroes Hearth. We saw LFM versus Space Station yesterday. LFM did take one game, but we're not quite sure where Space Station is going to be. Look at the names on Tempo Storm. I feel like there's no way they're not top 4, at least, right? Sam is so confident he's already like, we are going to international events, and there's just nothing you can do about it. So it's a very good jumping off point and a place where Heroes Hearth can gauge just how strong they are in relation to some of the top teams in North America.
Yeah, it's almost the mentality of, look, if we win, we definitely make a big statement if you're Heroes Hearth. If you lose, it might have been pretty much expected by a lot of people if you're not familiar with the name, if you didn't pay attention to Open Division, if you're not familiar with the names. I mean, it might come as a surprise. We see the Leoric pick up as that solo laner, and Rhaegar. First look at Rhaegar here in North America. Yeah,
is this a BBJ standard? Is it a favorite, a comfort hero for him? Why is it that Heroes Hearth is the first team to bring Rhaegar to North America?
It seems in the Open Division, especially the second half of last year, they were able to get away with running Rhaegar quite a bit. It is a little bit of a comfort pick. I think that coming out, having that neutral part, he can also excel at getting camps, getting a little bit of wave clear. No more Lightning Bond at level 1, but he's still pretty strong. And with the Siege Giant camps changes, you can still kind of get that without taking damage. So you get a little bit of everything here from Rhaegar.
Yeah, and the Malthael ban is doubly effective in that it's no longer possibly reducing ancestral healing by Touch of Death, the heal reduction at 7, but then in wanting to have Leo in the top lane, having these strong, very beefy warriors of Leo and Muradin, he's not going to be wrecking them with his Reaper's Mark. Final pick for Tempo Storm, one more damage dealer. They also are in or on the Tychus train. Who's it going to be? Yes! I knew he'd come back. I knew someone was going to do it. I mean, I didn't, like, you didn't tell me, I just knew it. Like, in my heart, I knew it.
Well, you gave me the list of heroes that he played, and they all started with the letter K,
hey.
So maybe he's just got a thing for heroes that start with the letter K.
I'm ready.
I was like, is there something I missed? Did
No,
that excite you?
I'm just so
K
excited.
heroes.
Psalms Kel'Thuzad. This is really going to test Heroes Hearth.
Force armor for Li Ming. Greymane built-in armor when he goes into Worgen form. Muradin, really high health pool, post level 13 for Rhaegar, gives you that extra shield on your lightning bond or your lightning shield. Leoric has the unstoppable with a Wraith Walk. It really allows him to kind of not necessarily combo himself against other people, but he also has post level 13 to be able to just go directly into the back, minimize some of that damage that Kel'Thuzad could put out. So some counterplay, but a really strong draft overall in terms of that sustained damage with Tychus and the burst damage from Kel'Thuzad.
Yeah, and just knowing what these players like to play, it looks good, but I'm excited for this first game between Heroes Hearth and Tempo Storm. So let us not delay any longer. We're heading into Dragonshire for the first game.
Gilly, Tempo Storm, the all-star team? We're going to find out. Cattle flexing over back to a tank role that he played some time ago. He's going to be on ETC. Glaurung moving over to that melee offlaner on Tahaka. Fan on Tychus. All eyes are going to be on Psalm, on Kel'Thuzad, and June, of course, going to be wrapping it up there on Lucio.
Meanwhile, newcomers, Heroes Hearth Esports, BBJ. As we have the sprays coming out, playing Rhaegar. Crowan will be on Greymane, Arthalon on Li Ming, McIntyre playing Leoric, and Ishbu on Muradin.
How you feel right out the gate about Osign renewal for Leoric at level 1? A little bit of different flavor on our Leoric build to have that sustain in the solo lane.
Yeah, not the consume vitality that we always see there, but instead having the activation to heal up. Getting Regen Globes lowers the cooldown of the ability too, so maybe he feels like he's going to be such a bully in the lane that he'll have that up just way more constantly. But we've got the first combo coming out from Psalm.
That's 3 Blight stacks. You get 30 of those, and your damage goes up quite a bit, Gilly.
It's significant, 75% spell power, and halfway through those stacks, you also get cooldown reduction for your abilities, which helps a lot in being able to get those final few stacks.
Bringing out a little different flavor to the way these lanes have opened up, as we see on the mini-map, Leo going from bottom to mid, while the action, of course, is here between top and mid. Looks like they're going to come in, and Arthalon.
Yeah, it's the escorting of Psalm to get those Blight stacks, just heading out anywhere that they feel like they can, following out Heroes Hearth, getting aggressive, and It's 1 minute, 13 seconds in the game, and Tempo Storm are absolutely fine to aggress in and steal the camp away. There's one thing that I noticed from them in the bit of scrims I got to watch from them is Tempo Storm has been playing very aggressively, which should lead for yet another awesome series. There's a lot of teams, it feels like, we've been casting lately have been doing that.
I think that they've paid attention to the international competition. That's how a lot of teams, they get early advantages and they find ways to take control of the battleground. They're doing just that. Another chains landed with the root as well. We're up to 7 stacks there. As Psalm stacks, this team will continue to increase their power. Ishbu, of course, capturing the shrine, have it even top and bottom. Sklarung holds the bot lane.
He's holding that bot while the rest of the team clear out. There's just a ramping up period while Psalm has to build up these stacks. June enables this faster by helping Psalm and Caterpillar with the rotation of crossfade, the movement speed, a boost there to try to catch up to wherever HeroesHearth are for the maximum bang for their buck when it comes to using the chains to pull people together and getting the root for those stacks. What are we sitting at? 7 blight stacks out of the 30 necessary to get the boost in spell power.
All right, taking control of the bot lane has been Tempo Storm, getting their own siege camp now. Neither team has been particularly effective just yet with pushing in with the camps that they've obtained. Both teams responding accordingly, with Tempo being forced to respond to the knights that were top. A couple camps still on, the neutral at the bottom. Tempo's friendly on the left. We'll see if we make any plays for that, but right now it's priority. Both shrines have been channeled here by Tempo.
The Hunk gets caught. Beautiful burrow to avoid Ishbu's Stormbolt. Glowering wants to turn around to pull someone in maybe to tower range, maybe get some extra shots, some damage to them, but doesn't get that. June was even scouting down in the bottom, using that Lucio wall ride movement speed to their advantage. A lot of teams internationally love to do that with their Lucios, using it to scout out. And in this case, Tempo Storm has had a lot of priority on mercenary camps, like you said in the bottom lane, but just in general, making sure that they are keeping up the pressure.
Get a good stun in, but
nice.
There's the chains, the slide
Perfect.
directly over. That is in sync right there. Tempo Storm,
wow.
First blood.
Jeez, with Cattle too, that could not have been prettier. You're building stacks and you're getting takedowns. Now Glau's looking to take the Dragon Knight, more stacks being acquired in the bottom lane. Tempo Storm's opening up this series strong.
They're building a lead. They've got themselves about a half-level lead. They're stretching that a bit further. Got the Siege Giants here, just missing the combo over to Arthalon. Fort should hold here, because there's enough firepower in return. Both shrines still being channeled. Leoric basically handcuffed to this middle lane to keep an eye on the DK spot.
Yeah, he has to be the guardian there as Dahaka gets to go up and soak that lane. More people head up, and Tempo Storm's continuing to hold on to this bottom, but now HeroesHearth wants to get aggressive. They force the boop out, and they will take the shrine, ensuring that there's no Dragon Knight for Tempo Storm. At least, not yet.
Not yet. Now we see the attention turn towards the camp here in the top left. We'll give Tempo Storm a little bit more push potential. You've got to flex Greymane over into those spots a lot of times when you deal with this. Because they have that spell armor, Li Ming doesn't fare well in clearing, so you generally have to have your auto attack style. You got to commit slightly different resources with the new gameplay changes to take care of that. So we'll see how they respond. Right now, there's a little bit of action here in the bot lane over the bottom shrine.
You know, thinking about the draft now and us wondering about that Rhaegar, hold that thought, because things are about to get aggressive again. Perfect pull back the Glacial Spike, waiting for a long time until Ishbu got far away and then bringing him back in. The turnaround is immediate. Nobody is safe from Tempo Storm.
No, and once your Dwarf Toss is down and you get pushed that far back, you're up the creek without a paddle on that one.
So what I was talking about from the draft now too is Psalm's hero was the only one left. Psalm, as I said, Kael'thas, Kel'Thuzad, Kerrigan, obviously he plays a ton of other heroes too, but these are ones that he's had a lot of success with, the team's had a lot of success with at BlizzCon. Maybe just getting Rhaegar just in case something like that was coming out, so they would guarantee have a cleanse for those combos.
You know, Gilly, the common theme last year when I was watching this with Tempo Storm, it was about lack of aggression in a lot of games. So far, they've been aggressive in stealing camps. They've been aggressive with their positioning into bushes, looking for picks, looking for opportunities. We're looking at 3-0 on Dragonshire, which sometimes has a slow startup period. But so far, I'd say that this is a slightly different team in terms of how they're approaching the early game. Early results look good so far. They've got themselves level 10 in the process.
Yeah, they look excellent with those heroic abilities, everything as you would expect. The Mosh Pit favor over Stage Dive. Something that HeroesHearth will have to keep in mind. Having that Rhaegar means no crowd control to help out with that, but there is still a Li Ming, and as long as her position is good, she can wave a force out of that, and then there's Murden to help with that too. But Mosh Pit, you've seen it on Dragonshire, especially around those giant camps. Things can get hairy when everyone's starting to group up and try to deal damage around that, so HeroesHearth needs to keep that Mosh Pit pick in mind.
Now we've got a cleanse on Rhaegar. We also will likely have Wave of Force, so you have a couple of things, but if you can force out some of those abilities, some of those things that can really save that, then you can really get value out of that mosh pit. So I like this. We've seen a lot of different heroes that have a few more interrupts, but here it's fairly limited. See if Cattle can pull it off.
Especially to combo after a combo of Psalm. If he pulls the right people together so that they're guaranteed together already, then it may just not even be possible for them to be able to deal with that mosh pit. We'll have to see how on point that synergy really is.
I think McIntyre has to be careful with how aggressive he is here, because we're one Brush Stalker away from Glaurung to go down and take a team fight in the bottom. If they can get a combo, you start getting that call. Speaking of combos, Ishbu caught out again. Chains just miss. He's going to live.
Top damage has been really nice, though, for McIntyre, that he's done that much damage to the fort. Starting to back off as things head toward the mid from the rest of Tempo in HeroesHearth. And it has kept Dahaka up in the top, making sure that it doesn't give the fort away for free. But Tempo have maintained the level lead, which means they're heading in toward 13, trying to get that ahead of HeroesHearth, and going to set up for that in advance by starting to get some of these mercenary camps that can push back HeroesHearth in defense and let them maybe get a Dragon Knight.
Yeah, as much as their aggression has been rewarded in the early game, they've got themselves a level lead, they also have to be cautiously aggressive, because Psalm, only at 16 stacks, he has the cooldown reduction, Gilly, but he doesn't have the damage to get those one-shot kills that we know. It would be a team effort. It's not until he gets those 30 Blight stacks that he can really start to put the pressure onto other people by himself, and then have easy follow-up. For now, I like their cautious approach. They're playing for 13. They're doing well so far.
Yeah, Matt's already in position knowing that this was going to be the power play from Tempo Storm, getting the camp, starting to set up for Dragon Knight off of the 13, and maybe if not getting the Dragon Knight, then at least getting a fight out of it in the mid. The catch is there on Fan, uses the Odin, Mosh Pit behind it, hits 3. It's Arthlon who's there, but he's still got that Mosh going. Drag pulls in another one, and Rhaegar and Li Ming are already killed. Psalm starting to wreak havoc, so is the Odin from Fan.
Well, Crowan tried to get that cocktail kill over the wall, unable to do so. 3 members end up going down on HeroesHearth. That's going to be our first DK of the game, and that is a almost 2-level lead. Tempo starting to take control.
And with the Wave of Force, it makes me think the Wave of Force was used to try to catch that person in the mid. Fan, he goes into the Odin, and then immediate capitalization. Just like you called, Jai, you gotta have something for that. Caterpillar swooped in, forced everyone to dance, and now gets a Dragon Knight. They have the siege here in the bottom lane. They're gonna build up those Blight stacks even more.
Caterpillar on the Cattle himself as ETC. We got the boot away. McIntyre taking so much damage. He gets the Ancestral Cattle under pressure. Crowan not able to confirm the kill. Leo gets traded. BBJ somehow surviving for the moment. The boot's going to come in, and it does not get the kill. However, they are still all over this keep.
Yeah, Tempo Storm is pretty low in health. It's Dahaka who's inside of this. Pop out with a full health bar. They're still hoping that they can keep the siege going. This is a place where Kel'Thuzad thrives because he can use those enemy structures to the disadvantage of their opponents. Another power slide. Glaurung catches himself in Ishbu.
They were like, hey, Leoric's spawning. What if we just slide on him and root him instantly? Almost got it there. 29 stacks, and then we get the big damage from Kel'Thuzad and Psalm. Then, Gilly, will HeroesHearth be able to survive the same type of onslaught that they've kind of gotten away with a little bit on a few moments, despite 7-0?
Yeah, I don't know that they're surviving right now.
Yeah.
It looks pretty rough here. We're 10 minutes, 30 seconds in, and the 7-0 and 2-level lead sort of spells how the game's been going so far, and we are not kidding when we say that having Blight finish is such a boost to Kel'Thuzad. But HeroesHearth get a mercenary camp for the top. They're going up to see if they can get that Glaurung pick. This could be really big for them.
Oh.
Wow, Glaurung just dodged so many things. Dodging the Stormbolt, had the Burrow, had the Essence, barely makes it out, just clipped from the wall from the Entomb. Well done.
Speaking of Essence, he just completed his level 1 talent, getting them that movement speed there. Both camps in the top lane. one being cleared out by Tempo. They're also level 16, Gilly. Talent tier advantage, 2 levels pretty much. Here in just a moment as Heroes Hearth will hit 14. Heroes Hearth got some questions answered. So far, they've been unsuccessful in all their gank attempts, and they're eventually going to have to take a fight because this game, with that bottom keep already being weakened, another Dragon Knight will take that down, and if things go really bad, could spell the end of the game.
Yeah, lanes all pushed against Heroes Hearth, trying to soak where they can be safe. I saw a lot of people up in the top pushing with those bruisers. With 16 and the top secure, those bruisers pushing back, knowing that someone will have to respond to that for Heroes Hearth, they can start to make the necessary rotations to get a Dragon Knight off of this 16.
Those Mecha Rhaegar sounds are so cool. Like, I'm still getting used to them, but I hear it, and it's just like, it's so good, that hum in my ear. I'm like, oh my goodness, that's a good skin combo there. But either way, both shrines now going to be captured here by Tempo. We're just hanging out in the bush.
Yeah, Heroes Hearth even willing to get the shrine without taking out the camp, just really trying to do everything at their disposal not to let Tempo get that Dragon Knight. But would they be willing to fight for it? Can Tempo set up a way that they can get a fight off of this pre-16 for Heroes Hearth? Because that would be potentially disastrous for Heroes Hearth, especially with how low that keep is in the bottom.
Night Camp has officially been picked up. Heroes Hearth without 16, Gilly. They now have to defend against that with a Leeming style composition. They're going to have to commit all their resources to keep this keep alive. With Leeming, not a lot of great wave clear. Cocktail's really the only thing you can get in there to kind of get onto that mage. I got a feeling the keep's going to fall, but they've got to be careful. If Psalm hits that chain, 1, you've got that Blight stacks. 2, he could potentially combo you right off to one of these structures. Might be the beginning of the end. We're going to see, can Heroes Hearth hold?
Yeah, it's so nice to see Tempo pushing here, knowing that if they get the right combos, the right kills, they'll end the game. But if nothing else, they walk away with the keep. And now they have catapult pressure in that bottom lane, and things just get easier and easier. There it is. Blight is done. The drag in. The root there forces Avatar. Ishbu is just tanking so much damage between Tychus and the Kel'Thuzad. But McIntyre's in. He's putting down the Entomb, hoping that he can keep some of Tempo Storm here for what Heroes Hearth needs as a fight.
Unfortunately, unable to confirm a kill. Heroes Hearth, they committed quite a bit to that. Now they're being turned on here as June and team getting that speed boost there. There it is, the drag not lighting enough, but the power slide's gonna follow up. Oh my goodness. Gilly, Psalm's mom just called. Said that play's so sick he's gonna have to turn the game off.
It
Done.
was pretty good. Pretty good plays from Psalm this entire game, but I have to credit the whole team, especially Caterpillar. Psalm and Caterpillar synergy on another level right now.
Yeah, the max range there as Ishbu, poor Ishbu on Muradin, not able to jump far enough. Just
yeah,
not there.
his health bar fell so fast. That was a Muradin. It's scary to play versus this good of a Kel'Thuzad. Heroes Hearth, though, they still have the 16. They still have an opportunity for a fair team fight. They just don't have their Muradin. The Dragon Knight picked up behind this, but they do use, wow, Greyming's just gone. They used what they thought maybe could take out Cattle. The Entomb Cattle just slid right on through Heroes Hearth. Quick 2 kills, a Dragon Knight, Tempo Storm looking for the end.
Interrupt on that slide, but there was a little bit of miscommunication, I think, on Heroes Hearth there, as it looks like Tempo's going to march to victory. Trying to get the interrupt onto the channel while they had the cursed bullet onto ETC. Have they been communicating? The missiles were a little bit late. Wow.
It's just so much damage. He can't get out of here. Finally does go out. This whole time a Dragon Knight's just been using its axe on the core. Tempo Storm.
It's not a guarantee yet. We're at 80%. The Dragon Knight now no longer taking a lot of damage. It's starting to take it down. All right, now we're looking like it. There's the mosh pit, locking it in for good measure. DK taking the core down. Tempo Storm, Gilly 10 kills to 1 to wrap that out. Pretty flawless game 1.
Looked excellent. Even there at the end with the core, everyone stepping forward, letting Fan use the Odin behind, pretty untouched, while the Dragon Knight was on one side too. Just drawing the ire, the eyes of Heroes Hearth. Even Psalm sitting on the other side of the core, he was enough of a threat. Let's kill this damage dealer, that the Odin could continue to siege along with the Dragon Knight. But yeah, the new roster looks pretty good. It was their map pick. It was maybe a surprising composition. Not sure how much Heroes Hearth knew about the Kel'Thuzad, but they know about it now.
I'd say all of HGC, not just North America, but all of HGC probably had eyes on, hey guys, you know, if you're waking up in Europe tomorrow, you're like, all right, they came out game one firing Kel'Thuzad, had quite a bit of success with it. I like the fact that their approach is a team approach, invading camps early, being aggressive when they needed to be, getting a few picks, waiting a little bit till they start to get stacked up, looking for their opportunities. And the minute they had that fully revved up, Gilly, they just kept it going. And Heroes Hearth was just unable to do anything to stop the push. Tempo Storm, just one game though, on our best of 5, but so far so good for Tempo.
Yes, it is.